Psst, check out my Patreon.
So, I'm not sure how many of you might remember this, but back when I completed the first season of the reboot, I ended up doing a video on all of the 2-minute shorts that had been uploaded during that first year run. Well, similarly for season 2, 5 more Minisodes were created and released in 2017, so that's what I'm going to be covering today, going through each entry one at a time and sharing my thoughts on how well they hold up. I realize it's not quite the same as a typical review, but hopefully it's a worthwhile watch nonetheless. I guess there's no reason to hesitate any longer. Here are my thoughts on the shorts of the Powerpuff Girls 2016, Round 2.
You're it!
Bubbles? Donny? Would you mind grabbing the mail for me?
Also, apologies if the title is a little bland. I'm not really sure what else to call these things other than shorts. Regardless, our first story features the beloved duo of Bubbles and Donny, as they are sent out on a mission to retrieve the mail for the professor. Interestingly enough, this short was actually released for the premiere of the first season 2 episode, The Last Donnycorn. Ah yes, it's fitting that this second season of reviews wraps up right back where it began, with Donny. Kind of funny how this ended up being one of the last things I covered in season 2 instead of the first, but I thought it would have been a little weird if I didn't cover all of these shorts at once. I did contemplate talking about these sporadically alongside other reboot episode reviews where they would have been relevant, but I figured this was probably the better way to go about it, especially if somebody couldn't find the specific minisode they wanted to see me talk about. Alright then, let's get this started.
Would you mind grabbing the mail for me?
A mission.
Oxygen Magnesium is right. What am I looking at? Ugh, that's disgusting. And maybe I'm crazy, but I swear that little jingle before Bubbles and Donny's faces change shape is ripped right out of something else. But I just can't place my finger on it. Also, just a fair warning, I think this 2-minute short might very well be the most unfunny, unrelatable, unimaginative 2 minutes in the reboot's entire library of animated programming. It's a simple premise, really. The professor asks Bubbles and her friend Donny to go outside and grab the mail from the mailbox. You'd think it would be harmless enough, right? Just walk outside and grab whatever the mailman delivered, maybe have a gag here and there, simple as that. Yeah, no, it's not. Not at all. It's a mess. The two head outside and proceed to get the mail, although because this is Donny and Bubbles we're talking about, they end up doing a bunch of random shit instead.
Eyes, mailbox.
Eyes on you. Pet the kitty.
Fly, eagle, one.
Chomp the gator.
Tango with the orange.
Listen to the fox.
Okay, so where's the joke here? Are they making fun of sign language? Are they performing martial arts moves? Are they mocking foreign films? What does this have to do with them going to get the mail? What is this trying to say? At the very least, it doesn't overstay its welcome, but who is this appealing to? Are they banking on it being so random that it's funny? Because I could see some people taking offense to this. I think they're trying to imply that the characters are speaking in a secret code language because they're pretending to be spies or something, but the short does such a shit job at communicating that idea that it's difficult for anybody to figure out what's going on. I literally had to watch this short like 4 or 5 times before I realized, oh, that's what they're going for. I honest to God thought it was just randomly inserted for no reason. And maybe it still was, and I'm just giving the short too much credit. I mean, can you blame me? The two literally open the door and just start doing this shit. It's not like they have secret code names or are dressed in spy outfits or there's spy music playing. There is no motif here for the audience to latch onto and figure out what's going on. And as if that wasn't enough, the two then get distracted by a snail whom they decide they can't take their eyes off of because they want him to stay safe, which just results in them stressing their eyeballs out so much that Bubbles literally grows a mouth in one. Again, what does this have to do with anything? What are they accomplishing in staring at it like this? They can't just pick up the snail and move it somewhere? No, we have to make things super complicated for no real reason. Of course, the two end up blinking and forgetting all about this because Donny realizes that they're supposed to get the mail, not watch a snail. Jesus Christ.
To the mailbox.
There it is.
I'm sorry, did anyone else hear that? Was that the sound of Donny crushing the snail? I swear I didn't edit that in. That's in the show itself. Oxygen magnesium. Bubbles just witnessed her friend murder an innocent creature and she was totally okay with it? What the hell is that about? Well, Bubbles spots the Milkman and so the two proceed to tackle him to the ground as the screen fades to white. Not really sure why they felt the need to take him down considering he hasn't done anything wrong, but apparently the Milkman is some evil entity that's hell-bent on tormenting these two lives or something because he literally has nothing to do with their mailbox. But the two wind up going back to the professor and showing him that they completed their mission.
Professor, we have completed our mission.
Here you go!
That's a car engine.
I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but what I do know is that this character pairing is fucking stupid, and not a single joke in this short even made me crack a smile. There's no correlation to anything that's going on, and it just feels like a bunch of random shit was slapped together to make the final product. It's not charming, it's not humorous, it's not good in any quality whatsoever. 100% pure, obnoxious garbage. The subtitles, the snail staring, the hiding in the bushes, the weird faces, the professor, all of it is just dumb crap crammed into 2 minutes of our lives that we'll never get back. What's even worse is the ending, which I cannot possibly fathom how it could hold any value to anybody whatsoever.
That means...
Another day in the life of a milkman.
How in the hell is his van running if he doesn't have his engine? Why the hell did he drive all the way out to some random canyon? And how do Bubbles and Donny connect this to the mailbox? This is terrible. Easily the worst short out of all 10 that the series has made. And I'm done wasting my time on it. Next, Bedtime. This short's about the girls dealing with insomnia the night before they have their family picture taken. Kind of a generic name, but what is this series if not generic, right? This Bedtime is more like a bad time if I'm being honest though. So it begins with the professor telling the girls to go to sleep for the night so they can be prepared for their family pictures tomorrow. As you can probably guess, the entire joke of this short is that the girls aren't going to oblige and are going to stay up all night doing a bunch of random crap instead. He warns them that they don't want a repeat of last year, which apparently consisted of the girls turning into werewolves because sure. It's an incredibly forced reaction and doesn't really correspond to anything else that happens in the short aside from a 1-second gag, but they happily agree to go to bed regardless. That is, until Buttercup begins humming this one song that she has stuck in her head.
What's up in the club? Who's up in the club? You's up in the club.
That's the worst song ever!
I know.
Well, stop!
If Blossom isn't me critiquing modern pop music, I don't know what is. But yeah, that's only the beginning. Pretty soon we see Blossom reading an economics book and Bubbles hosting a tea party, which leads the professor to come barging in because he can hear the racket that they're causing. Not that it matters though, I mean that doesn't stop the girls from being as obnoxious as possible. As I said, the professor's warnings don't stop them and pretty soon they're throwing a disco rave party with Allegro, who somehow managed to go the entire second season without appearing once in a single episode. Does he do anything noteworthy? Nope, not at all. He's simply a background character and that's all there is to it. Would have been better had it somehow integrated him into being the cause for the girls' insomnia or something to that effect, but no, there's really no reason for him to be here and why the girls are okay with him is a mystery to me too. It's kinda sad that Blossom is so boring of a character that the only thing she got caught doing was reading twice, whereas every other instance is its own unique thing. But yeah, needless to say, the picture that they get the next day isn't quite the optimal image the professor was hoping for, but it's too late for them to go back on it now. It's also taken by that obnoxious secondary character from Bubbles of the Opera, so that doesn't really help either. Alright, here we go, short number 3. Hopefully third time's the charm actually rings true here, but I have my doubts. Mojo discovers the only thing more difficult than total world domination is DIY furniture. That probably speaks for itself already, but we're going to dive into this anyways and see what's up. thankfully this is an easy one, although interestingly enough it doesn't have Mojo's title card colors despite being a Mojo-centric animation. Okay, so yeah, basically he wants to build a shelf so that he can display his snow globe collection. Honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but I found the season 1 shorts to be way more interesting than this. I mean, don't get me wrong, those ones didn't blow me away or anything, but watching Mojo get mad at a parody of IKEA for 90 seconds isn't nearly as exciting as a ping pong match to the death. Maybe if it were the original series as Mojo Jojo, I'd be a little more into it considering he'd react a bit more properly, but considering this is the reboot version we're dealing with here, I am less than thrilled. The box has the word Clipula written on it, which doesn't really translate to anything as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm wrong. But according to what I've found, and by what I found I mean a quick Google Translate search, it could be an incorrect spelling of the word Clifila. I'm sorry I don't speak this language. Basically, they forgot the H, because apparently this show doesn't believe in respecting foreign cultures, just ask Barry's mom. But hey, there's a couple of gags in there that could get me to at least crack a smile. It's basically just a next we get a montage situation of here's a funny haha, there's a funny haha, and they go by so fast you don't really have time to reflect on it. Here's a joke, okay, on to the next, oh, there goes another one, you get the idea. Somehow, by sewing a block of wood and jackhammering all over the place, he manages to build a pair of wooden pants. Don't look at me. Clearly he's unsuccessful, but that doesn't stop him because despite nearly lighting himself on fire, he just keeps going at it until he's finally successful at the end.
There. Perfect.
Yeah, the payoff's not really worth it, and it honestly comes out of nowhere. Like, there's this huge build-up, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's done. Problem solved. I don't know, I find this one to be pretty chaotic all around. I mean, don't get me wrong, I couldn't see a full episode written around this premise, so it definitely works better as a short, but it never feels like there's enough time spent on anything except for the telephone jokes. If a few gags were cut out just to let us see Mojo struggle a bit more individually, I think it would be better. Still, beats that god-awful random humor of Bubs and Donny get the mail. Next, we have number 4, I'll Be Bake. This is a Blossom-themed short, seeing as the title card is pure pink. Oddly enough, despite Blossom and Bubbles getting their own respective shorts featuring themselves, Buttercup doesn't get one in season 2, probably because of how many times she gets the spotlight in all of the regular episodes. Well, in this minisode, Blossom is attempting to bake a cake for student council when who else but her sisters barge into the kitchen and ask her what she's doing. They're eager to volunteer, although they don't exactly do a bang-up job at following the proper instructions that Blossom provides to them.
The next step is to gently add the eggs.
Oh!
Needless to say, this is a bit of a disaster so far, but hey, that doesn't stop Blossom from pressing onward. Her determination to get this cake done far outweighs the idiotic missteps her sisters continue to perform. Whether it's adding too much flour or Bubbles literally flying out to grab an actual cow instead of getting milk from the fridge, every single step is halted by one of the girls finding a way to do it wrong, even if it means hosting an all-out frosting battle in the middle of the kitchen. The milk stage would have been a good time for them to use Mojo's pasteurizer, am I right?
Where's the batter? Don't look at me. I mean it. Don't look at me. I'm eating the batter.
Well, at least she's self-aware and honest about what she's doing. I can respect that, but Blossom's clearly about to reach her breaking point because she's wasted so much time and so many resources on these two that she may not have a cake at all to take into school. That is, until she tries one more thing that she hasn't done yet, tying her sisters up so they can't interfere. Of course, the perfect solution. It's a wonder she didn't just do that in the first place. Out of all of the shorts we've discussed so far, I'd say this one is easily my favorite. The other three kinda stunk for their own separate reasons, but this one had the right amount of jokes with the right amount of pacing to back it up. It felt the most balanced, if I'm being honest. I guess that just leaves one more to go. Short numero 5, Blissfully Unaware. As I'm sure you can guess, this minisode features Bliss as she and the other girls watch the professor cook a delicious meal for them. The professor tries to make a healthy snack by following an online video tutorial, and the girls aren't too excited about that.
It's a broccoli a la grossier with broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and parsnip sprouts.
Yeah, I don't see how anyone would really want to eat that, to be honest. This allows Bliss to get the idea to use her telekinetic powers to swap out each of those ingredients with a pizza ingredient instead. And pretty soon we've got a rapid fire montage of the chef guy screaming his head off while Bliss swaps out all of the cooking ingredients and the professor rushes to keep up with the pace. Pretty soon he's got a fully made pizza that he still thinks is some kind of broccoli based dish because he's that much of a clueless moron.
It doesn't look like broccoli a la Grossier.
How do you not realize it's not broccoli when you actively acknowledged to the characters and to the audience that you were using pepperoni instead of broccoli?
Could have sworn I had broccoli. Well, I guess pepperoni will have to do.
How dense can you be? Well, the girls are happy about this and say it tastes great, so the professor concludes that he'll just make broccoli every night because they love it so much. Yep, that backfired on them. Honestly, I wish I had a little more to say about this one, especially because Bliss is in it, but that's really all there is to it. So I guess that concludes all 5 internet shorts for season 2. Yeah, I still gotta go with what I said about I'll Be Bake being the best short of the 5 in my opinion. In fact, if I had to rank them in order, I'd probably list them like this. I truly believe that Bubs and Donny is one of the absolute worst things to ever come out of this show. There is nothing redeeming about it, and I feel like I lost brain cells just trying to slog through the miserable 2 minutes of my existence it wasted away into oblivion. Season 1 overall just felt better to me, which is weird because I really didn't expect that reaction going into these, considering I think Season 2 overall is way better than Season 1. I guess the Minisodes are an exception to that though, or maybe I'm remembering them as better than they were. Oh well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little side video as I begin to wrap up Season 2. That's all for now guys, thanks for watching.